I fear not the man who is the master of others, but he who masters himself. This is the man that I fear. Something to that extent was once uttered by the lips of a man named Lao Tzu. He was a Chinese sage, and that saying, that quote, that kind of sums up what's in this whole retention thing. You become a man who is feared by others, not because you're scary, but because you will become one of the few men who actually has access to his own conscious will, who has control over himself. And these days, self-control is not present in the general population. It just is not. The average person has no self-control when it comes to their habits, when it comes to their addictions, when it comes to their emotional stability. Everybody is so scattered and fragmented in the mind. People are all over the freaking place. It's crazy. But if you just do the one thing that you need to learn to control your emotional state, not about suppressing your emotion, but coming into relationship with your emotion where you are fully experiencing your emotions, where you give them validity, but you also do not allow them to have a hold over you. You become very, very deeply grounded in your own conscious awareness. And from that place of groundedness, you can control how you use your mind. This isn't about not using your mind for the tool that it is, but you allow your mind to not have dominion over you, and you have dominion over your mind. The mind, your emotional body, is a wonderful servant, but it is a tyrannical master. And it will drag you into deep, dark depths of despair that you do not want to go down. And if you allow it to drag you to these very, very dark places, your life will become a metaphorical living hell. But yeah, you will become scary. You will become scary to the average person because you will have a depth about you. You will have an edge, an intensity to your presence that it'll kind of rub people the wrong way, if we're being honest. But this isn't such a bad thing. This is because you are one of the few people who is finally coming into contact with this, what Carl Jung talked about, this shadow aspect of yourself. This, not evil, but it's almost like slightly negative shadow side to yourself, almost like this kind of edge where these deep, dark emotions reside, and you've learned to integrate them into the rest of your personality, into your persona, in positive ways, in ways that are beneficial to you. And this is really what every man needs to do if he wants to become the type of man he needs to become. Because the only thing standing in front of you and the life that you want to live is simply these negative habits, these thought patterns, these ways that your emotions tend to drag you around, where you think you have set in your mind, hey, I'm going to do this today. I need to do this consistently for the next couple weeks or next couple years if I want to create this life for myself. But then you say you're locked in, and then these emotional patterns come up, and then it just drags you around like a tumbleweed being blown around in the wind. And the only thing stopping you from being consistent with the things you know you need to be consistent in is these emotions, is these forms of energy that well up inside of you, that want to drag you around, that want to control you. But if you can simply sit back in presence, you can breathe very, very deeply, very, very gently, deep, full of self-control, and confront these emotions and not shame them, but you address them with consciousness and you say, I give validity to these emotions, but I will not be controlled by them. I will choose how to act because I am the master of my reality. I am the captain of my own ship. This isn't not about suppression of your emotions. This is about regaining access to your own conscious will. It's about personal self-responsibility. No longer do you get to blame outside scenarios, people, situations, and most importantly, you do not get to blame your emotional state for how you feel. Instead, you say, yes, I do feel this way emotionally, but how will I choose to act from this place of having awareness of whatever emotional state I'm in? It's not about labeling these things good or bad. It's simply about coming back into your body, back into your spirit, back into your depth, and having self-responsibility, taking self-responsibility for your life. Because what's the solution? What's the alternative other than that? Blaming other people, places, things, scenarios, emotional states on your existence? No. This is not what you need to do. You need to come back into contact with God, with your peace, with your emotional, energetic center. Because only from that place, that deep wellspring of life, that deep wellspring of centeredness and consciousness and energy, will you find clarity and will you find the good life. And the first step to doing that is to get on that retention. It's to start conserving your vital life force energy. It's the cheapest, but also the most expensive form of energy conservation, because don't get me wrong, it's free. It's free, but it is not cheap. It is very, very difficult to learn to control this energy. It's very difficult. You know, you got to get sober and you got to let your fucking balls fill. And that's easier said than done. Yeah, if you just jerked off an hour ago, it's pretty fucking easy. But if you're on day 14 and that energy comes up and you know you want to go call that lady friend of yours and say, bro, come over. Let's go to Pound Town. That's hard to say no to. Everything in your DNA is wired to make you go do that. But if you can control that, if you can say, yes, that would be a nice experience, but saner heads prevail. That will not happen today. I will allow my logic, my reason, my acquired knowledge, and my experience, and most importantly, my intuition to guide me. You are part of the 1%, my guy. I fear not the man who can control others, who can master others, but I fear the man who can control and master himself, his emotions, his energy. If he can just freaking take responsibility for his own life, if you can just take responsibility for your own life and consciously move in the right direction, the direction that your intuition and your energy and God and the universe is always leading you, your dream life is on the other side of that. And your dream life shouldn't be any specific thing. Your dream life isn't, oh, I want to be on the super yacht with the ladies. Oh, it's like having this amount of money in my bank account. No. Your dream life should be about reaching an internal state within yourself that no matter what happens on the surface, whether you're in jail for 10 years or whether you're living in the most lavish luxury flat or apartment in downtown Brickell, Miami, doesn't matter where you are at peace. It is the peace that passeth all understanding. And this is what you need to strive for as a man. If you truly want to find peace and happiness and fulfillment, it's not about chasing pleasure, because pleasure will always leave you wanting more. There's always more money to get. There's always more pussy to chase. But if you can find peace in your soul, this is where the real money is. Not that you shouldn't go make a bunch of money, and not that you shouldn't go have an amazing dating life. I'm not saying don't go do that stuff. That's amazing. And you know, we're here in the physical reality, so I'm not saying to shame and suppress your desires. Go do that. But once you do it enough and you realize it doesn't quite fill the hole inside of you, maybe take a step back and realize there is a deep emotional hole inside myself that I need to address, that I need to go into and see where it leads. And I can't tell I don't know where that's going to lead for you. Everybody has their own problems and psychological mind patterns that they need to dive into for themselves. So I don't know where that's going to lead for you, but I do know it's there and it's waiting for you to dive into it. So go chase pussy, go make money, go have an amazing social life. But at some point you will have to take a look in the mirror and step back and say, what am I ignoring? What have I been trying to drown out with distraction? And this is truly what is going to allow you to master yourself. What is truly going to allow you to become the man that people fear. Not fear in a way where they fear like you're going to hurt them, obviously. That's not what this is about. But where people are going to be emotional reactive to you because, holy crap, this man is powerful. Not because he's special. Well, no, you are going to be special, but not because like you're different. You're different and special because you have chosen to walk the road less traveled. And it's just a choice. You're either walking it or you're not. You're walking the spiritual path and you're going deep with yourself, or you're not. And if you're not, I guess that's cool. And sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I choose to drown out my neurotic thought processes and my emotionally tumultuous nature with distractions and drugs and girls and all this garbage. And I do regret that. But you do need to go deep with yourself at some point. You do need to go deep with yourself at some point. So why not make that moment now? You've already seen where all these debaucherous habits have gotten you. You've already seen where overindulgence in sex and porn on the internet gets you. You've already seen where the drugs get you. You've already seen where the overindulgence in video games and junk food and all this other garbage leads. Why not listen to these geniuses on the internet that are telling you, just stop it? I'm saying geniuses in a slightly sarcastic way because it's not actually that profound. It's pretty freaking basic. Just stop overstimulating your dopamine receptors with all this fake garbage, and just maybe your life will improve. Just an idea. So I don't even know what I'm saying anymore, but I think you get the point. If you want to become a man who is mastering his reality, who has control over his reality, who has control over himself, it starts with your own emotional state. It starts with your conscious control of your own emotions and your desires and your habits. Come into contact with that raw primal part of yourself and learn to control that. And if you do that, there's nothing you can't do. So hopefully I will see you in the next video. Jump in the school, and I'll see you very, very soon. Peace, my guy.